And I wanted to ask if Adventure Time and Tangled, are those your personal favorites, or did you just pick the girls with the prettiest, pinkest dresses that you
Okay, so let me tell you the story of how cosplay started for me. Well, cosplay at the Supernatural conventions, because I had cosplay before. But how this crazy thing got started was my second convention ever was last year at Birmingham, and I've been corresponding with a lot of fans and stuff, and they're telling me that there's this costume con, like it's a costume party, it's a superhero costume party, and so I made, I'm like, okay, I love the Hulk. He's like my favorite hero, and I wanted to be the Hulk. I'm like it's really weird, unless you're like ridiculously big, and none of those costumes really look that good. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to do like this hybrid. I'm like, since I'm a prophet, I'll make him like a Hulk/prophet, right? So I went out, got all this green paint, I got like the staff, and I was ready. I flew into England. Staff was the only thing I had to check in because they wouldn't let me take that on the plane. And when I got there and I saw like Richard and Rick and all these guys, they're like, "What's that staff? Osric, what are you doing?" I'm like, "It's for my costume." And like, "What costume?" I'm like, it's a superhero themed thing, right? They're like, "Yeah, it's for the attendees, man." And I'm so new, I had no idea. It took me a lot of time to put this together. And so I'm like, I'll still do it. So I dressed up, painted myself green, and I couldn't wash it off after. And so I had green all over my neck, and I had photo ops the next day, and I was freaking out. I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about it, so I'm gonna be a little green in my photo ops. And then we took all the photos, and I was green. And then I got to think, I'm like, oh, this is actually like a nice little moment. It wasn't that crazy, but I'm like, this is like a nice little memento. If I ever see one of these photo ops, I'll know exactly which one it was. Because the time I dressed up as the Prophet Hulk, I couldn't wash off the green. And so that was fun. And then Comic-Con was going to happen in San Diego, and I'm like, awesome, I'm going to go to Comic-Con. Last year was my first time I dressed up as Finn from Adventure Time. This year I want to dress up again, still watching Adventure Time. I don't want to do Finn again. Jake is so obvious, I'll do Princess Bubblegum. So
it's an obvious choice.
Right, obviously, right? So I put together my costume for Princess Bubblegum, and I had it ready. I was so excited for Comic-Con. And then I ended up having to work through the weekend, and I couldn't make it. And I was so upset. Like, I can't believe I'm not going to go to Comic-Con. Like, I got my costume and everything, you're going to make me work. And I was fine. I'm like, okay, well, but I'm going to Dallas at the end of the month anyways, and that's a convention, you can wear a costume. And this was because this was my third convention, and it seemed like such a normal idea. So I brought my costume to Dallas. Obviously I didn't tell anyone, because I didn't think it was going to be an issue. Because you see like 30 Castiels at every con, I thought this was a thing that people did. So I put on my costume, and there's like 5 minutes till my panel. And as soon as I look in the mirror, I painted myself pink. I freak out. Because I'm looking at myself like, hold on, I can't believe I'm doing this. But there's only 5 minutes left, and it took me like an hour to put it on. And I couldn't take it off in time, and so I'm like, okay, Osric, just commit to this. And so I go out the door, and the volunteer that was there to come get me, just her jaw just dropped. So I'm like, hi. And so she's like, she doesn't even ask. She's just like being super polite, just walks me down the hall. We passed Richard on the way there, and he's like, what? What is this? I'm like, I'm Princess Bubblegum. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. He's just like shaking his head. He's like, all right, let's do this. And so I do it, and it turned out, it was really fun. I'm like, oh, this is great. I had the organizer come up to me after. He's like, I've been doing conventions for 32 years, and I can safely say that I have never seen anything like this. And then I started getting calls from my manager and my booking agents and stuff, and they're like, Osric, we received a couple of complaints, you know, people go to these conventions to meet Osric Chau, not Princess Bubblegum. So like, you really should have, you really shouldn't have done that. I'm like, I thought people liked it. I'm sorry. So I did dress up for Chicago after that, but unfortunately, Chicago's like the Halloween convention, because it was the weekend of Halloween, and I was the only one who didn't dress up that weekend. And it didn't occur to me, and so of course they all made fun of me for that. It's like, so you dress up for Dallas, but you don't dress up for Halloween. Anyways, after that, I just got so wrong. Like, all right, I'm gonna dress up for Burbank. Like, it doesn't matter what. And it might be my last convention ever, but I'm gonna do it for fun. And so I had a friend who just saw my Princess Bubblegum. She's like, hey, I have a Rapunzel dress. It's like, it's a small, I don't know if you'll fit, but like, you can use it if you want. I'm like, yeah, bring it over. And so she brought it over, and I'm like squeezing in it, and I'm like, okay, it fits, I just can't tie it up in the back, I don't need to. And it fit. And so went out, got a wig, you know, braided it, straightened it, braided it, bought a Pascal, bought a giant frying pan off of Amazon, and I think Rapunzel's still my favorite, because I was just really proud of how it all came together. And I did it, and it was like the best thing ever. And you know, now for all the North American events, they even have this little blurb of what cosplay is, because I don't think they knew before. And that's how cosplay started. So it wasn't, I mean, I loved Tangled the movie, I loved Adventure Time, but it wasn't as premeditated as things should be, I guess. I don't know, I think the best things usually come as accidents, and that was definitely a lucky accident. And seeing Jared's face when he saw Princess Bubblegum was just I don't know if any of you saw that yet, but his jaw is really big, and so it drops really like a long way. I'm like, that's great. Just for that moment, it was worth it. Yeah, cosplay. And so I'm cosplaying a lot this year. I wish I could have picked something for Madrid, but it kind of sprung up last minute, so I didn't have time to prepare. But I do have some good ones coming up this year that I'm really excited for.
Thank you.